Hello and welcome to the Third Sector. I'm your host, Tamara Brinkman. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit. And it's that third sector that we're here to talk about today. My guest on today's show will be Kim English from Every Child Can Read. And then we'll also have Marlene Lindsey from the Black Legacy Project joining us. But to start the show today, please join me in welcoming Kim English to our show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Sure, thank you for having us again.
We're so excited. Kim was able to join me way back when I started the show, and during those times when all you could really do is Zoom. So it's been a couple of years. A lot has gone on with Every Child Can Read, and now obviously we get to be in person. And so we're very excited to hear all the new latest and greatest happenings with Every Child Can Read. So please welcome.
Thank you very, very much.
Let's start by just talking about the history of Every Child Can Read. When did it start in the community, and how long's it been going? And then kind of when it started, it was, and where is it today?
Exactly. When it started, two businessmen, and it was Vic Josie and Rick Ahaus, were responding to the label of dropout factory. For Richmond Community Schools, and obviously no one wants to be a dropout factory.
Not an ideal term.
No. And so they, when they looked into it, basically reading is the key. It's the foundation for learning, and you need to be reading at grade level by third grade. Well, we weren't in our community, so they created Third Grade Reading Academy to be able to help these children get back on track. So that was, okay, are we ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. That was 17 years ago.
Wow.
Unbelievable for me to even think about it. So if we think about our kids and what they need from 17 years ago to today, it's somewhat overwhelming to know that reading recovery isn't just reading recovery. So we need to help these children in a lot of different ways. So we were very fortunate to have some large grants to be able to figure out what works best. And right now we went from 100 students the month of June for reading recovery, intense reading instruction with highly effective teachers, 5-to-1 student-teacher ratio. We will not give up on certain things for our academy. We just won't.
Right.
And it is extremely costly, but it's worth it. So we keep that. So we added children when we had funding to see if that was helpful. To be real honest, for various reasons, it wasn't. We discovered that adding more students didn't really help the bottom line. So we have to get the most bang for our buck. And you hate using that term with children, but you still do. And we want to give them what they need. So that is where we've really had to work very hard and collaborate a lot because what we think they may need isn't necessarily what they need.
Okay.
So we've gone from there. We love it. We're in one location here at IU East. It is fabulous. The collaboration with IU East and the Reading Academy is great. We love them, they love us,
right.
And it works out. But the biggest change that we've found is that our students still need support all through their school year. Okay. So tutoring has become a big education buzzword right now. I don't know, in our state of the state, that was part of that. It's not like it's new.
Right.
And it's not us like, oh, this is what we need. This is what everything is telling us that we need. So we've collaborated in the last few years, 2 years actually, with the Boys and Girls Club. So our biggest issue in anything we do is transportation.
Big community issue as well.
Yes, it's huge. And it's costly for everybody. That's why it's an issue. So Boys and Girls Club, we take care of the cost of a membership, which, by the way, kudos to them. It's $15 a year.
Right.
You know, sorry, I wasn't supposed to. But, you know, I mean, that's just the cost of their, and we make sure that's taken care of. They transport the kiddos.
Okay.
And we have tutors at 2 facilities, 4 classrooms, 5-to-1 ratios.
Right.
And intense. When they're finished with their hour of tutoring, they go up to the Boys and Girls Club. So they get all the benefits of the Boys and Girls Club also.
Right.
The collaboration that has come out of the last few years
Right.
in nonprofits is amazing to me. And it's so helpful for everybody, and which eventually that's what helps our kiddos.
Right. So I want to take a step back just to help people understand, because a lot is said about kids need to read at grade level at the 3rd grade. So if at the end of the 3rd grade year they are not reading at grade level, it's a problem. Why? Why is it at that point in time and at that age is it so critical? Because that's really what the Reading Academy in the summer has sought to make sure, is that kids going from 3rd grade to 4th grade, you fill that gap, right?
Exactly.
And I believe COVID exacerbated that gap.
Yes.
And I don't think we're saying anything new that people
Right.
haven't probably heard over the last couple of years, because of all the reasons that, you know, kids weren't engaging in, you know, classroom in the way that they normally would for a long period of time. So I threw kind of a lot there. Let's walk it back to just why is it important that kids are reading at grade level at that 3rd grade? Why is that marker so key?
Exactly. That is the point where you go from learning to read to reading to learn.
Thank you.
So from there on, in any class that they're in, they
Right.
need to be able to read and comprehend.
They're expected
Yes.
to know how to read and comprehend, because the teacher's not trying to sound out the words and help you.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So that's what it is. I think that's a really key piece. I think I learned that. I personally have learned that from you, and I found that to be so eye-opening, just that little piece that, you know, you're
is.
reading to learn through there, and after that, you need to be, you know, you have to, or you're learning to read, then you have to be able to read to learn. You have to be
Exactly.
self-sufficient.
Exactly.
Got it.
And they will be left behind.
Right.
If they can't. And that's, again, where tutoring can come into.
Right, right. Because in my day, when you had a tutor, it was like I was terrible at math. So geometry, I was practically falling off the charts. And I was a good student in all
did.
other areas, but geometry and I just did not sync up at all. And I had to get a tutor, you know, and I don't even know if my parents paid. I think it was a friend who was a year older who was really smart in math and just kind of tried to help me out. And it did a little bit, but so it's been around for our whole lives, and our parents too, really.
It really has. And there used to be, I think, a little stigma. And I'll tell you, I don't believe, if it is now, it shouldn't be.
Right.
That's for sure. Quick personal story here at IU East. I went back to school for education as an adult, and I was in the tutoring room every day. And I'm so thankful that it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to put in the work, but it is very, very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. So then let's, going back to IU East, the partnership that you have, and then a little bit more on, is the Reading Academy considered that reading recovery that you were talking about? Is that the same, or do they work together? Help us bring
is.
that together a little bit.
Yes, it is, but they do work together because we also collaborate with Richmond Community Schools. We have interventionists during the academy who will pull out students also. So it's like a tutoring session.
Okay.
And this year the plan is that we will definitely have tutoring sessions for no more than 4 students together at a time to try to bridge that gap, you know. And so, yes, we are trying to connect the two. But then they also get their fundamentals.
Okay.
See, if they've missed their fundamentals, and that's where, you know, the foundation will come in with the Reading Academy. We have a culture at the Academy, and it really is a family culture there. It sets us apart from a regular classroom. And to us, that is one of the most important things. Because if you set up a positive culture and expectations, support that, then you will get growth. Now, everybody's not going to pass that exam.
Right.
They're just not. But they can get really close. They can know they can do it.
Right.
They know they can grow. And so they just may have to work a little harder, a little longer.
Right.
But to overcome the defeat is huge. It's just it's huge for these kids, because if they feel defeated, they won't try.
They won't try. Okay, so we're going to run out of time soon, which I can't believe our time is going so quickly. I know there's a couple things you wanted to mention. Couple things. Obviously, you guys run the Dolly Parton Imagination Library for our area, which is huge. So I want you to be able to touch on that, and volunteers. And that's probably all we'll have time.
Okay, that's fine. This is amazing how quickly it goes.
I know, it goes so fast.
Yes, and I know time-wise this may air at a different time, but remember Dolly Parton as being, I think, one of the most influential people, definitely, of our lifetime in reading, education, and making people understand how important it is. And she is fabulous. She's distributed over 2 million books in all. It's international now. Her program is international. She will be turning 78. We want to have a shout out for happy birthday. We can have happy birthday all year long for her. So she's 78 years old, a Spitfire, and her program keeps growing, and it's simple. It is simple. You don't have to make everything complicated for it to be effective. And we are very proud that we are serving over 52% of eligible children in Wayne County, which are children 0 to 5 years old, for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. It is fully funded between us and the state. We worked very hard. That's another something that happened since the last time we were here. And it's not just us. The state as a whole has worked very hard, and they will support every county in the state. Now, I mean, they have to have an affiliate to support the other half. But that's
a big deal.
It is.
That's a big deal to have half of the cost funded through the state. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Huge.
And people can reach out to you if they wanted to support a child through that. That is a way that you can give to the organization. You can support specifically to that, as well as to the organization as a whole for all of what you guys do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary with being an affiliate for the Imagination Library this year.
That's a long time.
Yes, it is. So watch for things for that. We'll be having a big party.
Oh, good. So well, that's exciting.
Yes.
We'll stay tuned for that.
Yes.
One last thing, because we are over time a little bit. Volunteers. If people want to volunteer, they want to get involved with your organization, help kiddos, what's the best way?
Absolutely. Call us, email us, stop by the office. We have now, because we have a new office that we can have volunteers come in, we have lots of opportunities now.
Perfect.
So
that's very
we
exciting.
appreciate it very much.
That's very exciting. We've been putting her information up on the screen while she and I have been having this wonderful chat, so you all can reach out. Their offices are located at the Boys and Girls Club located on North 12th Street. It's the First Bank Richmond unit location, and so you can find them over there. They've got their own space. But Kim, thank you so much for joining me. It was too little time. Stay with us when we come back. Marlene, Lindsey from the Black Legacy Project.
Awesome. That was fun.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Marlene Lindsey. She is the founder and the president of the Black Legacy Project here in Wayne County. And I'm so excited that Marlene is able to join us for on today's show. Marlene, welcome to the Third Sector.
Glad to be here.
We are so glad to have you. I am very excited to learn about the Black Legacy Project. So it's a newer organization,
Yes.
correct? And so why don't you just tell us about when it started and where we're at today?
Okay. When George Floyd was killed, there were a lot of Zoom calls, which I was on. And in doing that, some things were mentioned, and it's like, you had an all-black fire department, fire station, firehouse. And it's like, yes. And so people didn't realize that. We had an all-black, a segregated firehouse up until 1966.
Oh, wow.
And so then we went to do research on that. And in doing the research, I had went over to the Wayne County Historical Museum. So that would have been 2021.
Okay.
And so I went over to the Wayne County Historical Museum and noticed there wasn't anybody there that looked like me. So it's like I got to thinking, I know that the blacks, I know some blacks in Richmond that have made contributions here and further outside of Richmond. And I started doing research. And my research just blossomed because there were so many people that I knew that wanted to share with their uncle, with their aunt, what somebody in their family had did that made a contribution. And I took my books. I started with a small book, and I took binders to the museum, and it's like, look what I've got. And they were so excited about it and asked me would I be their signature event in 2023.
Okay.
So in June of 2023, I opened my exhibit at the Wayne County Historical Museum. It was their signature event for 2023, and it was the most people attended that had ever attended a signature event, which we had close to 500 people attend.
That's a lot
And
of people.
so if you go now, it'll be the full exhibit will be at the museum until June of this year.
Okay.
So if you could get by and see it, it is really something to see. It's just things that you didn't realize. I mean, Frederick Douglass visited Richmond, or Booker T. Washington was good friends with C.R. Richardson, where we had a school named after him, who was a black attorney.
Okay.
So a lot of things went on that we just weren't taught or didn't know if it wasn't by word of mouth.
Right. So in your research, what was some of one or a couple of your biggest surprises or maybe learnings about the the history that you did not know about growing up here?
We had an all-black newspaper. Who
Really?
knew? I know, who knew? An all-black newspaper.
Okay.
And C.R. Richardson was the editor. And so when I tell people, they like, what? We had an all-black newspaper? Yes. It was back in the 1920s, from 1918 to 1920 or something like that.
Okay.
It was for 2 years, but it did give all, the comings and goings of the black population.
Right.
So that was just like, you could have knocked me over with a feather when I found that. When I found that information out, that was very, very interesting. And one of the reasons that I did it was because I didn't have a sense of pride being in Richmond. I mean, nothing's in Richmond. Why am I here? And I left a few times, went to Dallas, went to California, but I always came back home.
Okay.
And so then again, when I went to the museum and didn't see anybody that looked like me and started this project, I'm doing it so that the kids can have a sense of pride. Wow, Booker T. Washington was in Richmond. Wow, Frederick Douglass came to Richmond and knew people, because those are people that are in our history books.
Right.
But they were in Richmond, Indiana?
Right.
Really? So that, gives a sense of pride. And that's the main, reason, was to encourage kids and to know that you came from a place that is made contributions.
So is there a mission or a goal of the Black Legacy Project beyond just having the historical knowledge?
Well, the main mission or the main goal, I'm hoping to get a brick and mortar.
Okay.
Because again, this is the signature event for the Wayne County Historical Museum, which they're going to have a new signature event come June. Most of my things will come out. I think they're going to condense it.
Okay.
But I haven't been able to share all the artifacts and things that I have.
Okay.
So then if I could get a brick and mortar where it's another location to be
Okay.
able to go see. And I'm also working with some students from Earlham College. Had a meeting with the professor that they're going to help us get a website,
Okay.
actual website.
Okay.
Because I want the children to be able to do research to help, expand what attorneys, or we had actors, we had attorneys, we had inventors.
Right.
Musicians, Harold Jones, that is from Richmond, which has been on the WCTV. He's played for 5 presidents. The Queen of England was the first jazz band to play
Wow.
at the White House when John Kennedy was president.
Okay.
So that history, just because you're from Richmond doesn't mean you're worthless or can't do anything. We've did quite a bit. So
That's
to get
pretty
that
neat.
in a website, an actual website where kids can do research and really expand their knowledge, that is my goal.
Okay. Well, I love it. I think it's really I think it's exciting, and I think it's wonderful that you took the time to invested it, found this information, and have been able to journey it into this larger opportunity for people to take in and learn as well. That we have a historical museum here in a county of our size is a big deal.
Right.
I think it's great that they showcased, all of what you were able to find, and then that you were able to turn out such a huge and historical event for them. I think that's wonderful. And it would be exciting to be able to continue to bring that forward, or an opportunity, a place where people can, come and take that in as time continues to go on. Because it sounds like you've certainly gathered a lot, far more than what's already at the museum even.
Yes.
Hopefully your home can accommodate all of these things that are you're
It's getting tight.
It's getting tight. Okay. So question, this is a little bit different, but in your process, have you found that people have heard about that you're doing this research and looking, and then have wanted to reach out to you to say, well, I don't know if you know this, but I have whatever?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. And I haven't met anybody that has been negative about it. Everybody has been so positive and are glad, that we're finding this. And then it's like, I didn't know that. And you could see the pride in them. And we're also working on, last year we were able to just put up 2 installed 2 bulletin boards at Star School.
Oh, great.
And it's the history of, the blacks. And as we were installing the last one, the kids were going through to lunch, and pretty soon a little girl come back dragging the teacher, and she looked up and she said, "That's my uncle." So
wow.
to give the child
That's
a sense
neat.
of pride that there's somebody they know.
Right.
Because
they get to
generally you
see.
see things, that it's so distant you don't feel a connection.
Right.
But to be able to put it in. So in this year we're working on getting, we've been in contact with Tess Middle School.
Okay.
And we're going to be getting some information to them that they can at least run through
That's neat.
Black History Month.
Oh, how fun. That's really great. That's great. So with that coming up February, right?
Yes.
Next month. I can't believe where we are in the year, and I'm like, as we're coming up to the end of our time, is there anything in particular that the Black Legacy Project has planned next month around event-wise, or just other opportunities for folks to view any of what you've got available?
Right now we are, the thing at the school,
Okay.
we do have some fundraising events coming up. We're going to be part of the Eclipse.
Oh, okay.
And we have our 2nd annual golf outing that's coming
Okay.
this summer.
Okay.
So we'll be doing things like that, and we are working diligently to try to get in other schools because we really feel that's important.
Oh, good.
And but if anybody wants to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers. And if you have, a skill set, email us, give me a call, and we'll
Okay.
find some place for you. And us being a 501c3, we do take donations and
Right.
have fundraisers and like that.
Right. That's great. That's
Yes.
great. I think that takes us to our time today.
Okay.
But boy, and I'm sorry we didn't have more. Hopefully you all will take Marlene up on the opportunity to either go and view the exhibit that is available at the Wayne County Historical Museum through, I guess, at least the end of May, probably.
Yes, yes.
If they're switching it up in June. And then, you can connect with her on details for future opportunities. We thank you so much for joining us. That takes us to the end of today's episode. Thank you to Marlene, Lindsey, and Kim English for joining me today. Stay well, and we'll see you next time on The Third Sector.